Wait a second, is that Michael Jordan? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Michael Jordan. Let's go to a different hole. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Please. Look, I need you to come out now, okay? Because you got a baseball.
Guys want to go bowling? That's a pretty good idea. I'm up for it.
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness, the long-awaited sequel to Space Jam is finally here. This is a new legacy starring LeBron James. We're going to talk about it spoiler-free in this video, and let's get into it. So, a rogue artificial intelligence kidnaps the son of famed basketball player LeBron James, who then has to work with Bugs Bunny to win a basketball game. And in this movie, we have LeBron James as, guess what? LeBron James. And Don Cheadle as Algorithm. A-I-G Rhythm. But Algorithm. You see what they did there? And let's start with Don Cheadle, a.k.a. the guy who just got nominated for an Emmy for 90 Seconds in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Look, he was chewing up the scenery every moment of this movie that he is on screen. You can tell he's having a great time, and really everyone involved here. And let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about LeBron James. This is not a basketball channel. It's a movie channel, so I'm not going to bring up the debate on who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, but who's better? Tell me, who is it? Nah, I don't want that, okay? We're just talking about the movie here. Just Space Jam. Nothing else. Am I right? And LeBron James, you know, he's being LeBron James here. I'm not going to sit back and say it's the best athlete performance I've ever seen. I'm not going to say it's the worst. I think some of the mannerisms could have been better. Some of the responses didn't seem as realistic as I wanted them to, and there were times in the movie where he should have been more exaggerated, but instead he was just kind of like, oh no, I'm getting sucked into another dimension. Ooh. But I'm not going to sit back and act like the first Space Jam is this phenomenal masterpiece of a movie. Again, I have all of the nostalgia in the world for that movie. I love it. It holds a very special place in my heart, and I truly believe that this film could be that for this generation of kids. I really believe that. And if you're looking at the target audience here, it is families, it is young children. Now, that doesn't mean that I had to really enjoy this movie. That doesn't mean that it had to speak to me, but it will absolutely and inevitably speak to families because of all of the IP that we get, the fact that you have a ton of fans of LeBron James out there, and who doesn't love the Looney Tunes? And the Looney Tunes are such standouts here. Now, a big detriment that I have with the film is that I wanted more Looney Tunes because we have all of these other characters popping up, and you've seen the trailer, you know exactly, well, maybe not exactly, even more than that, but who we're going to get, and that's really fun, right? I love Easter eggs, I love cameos, I'm a big superhero movie fan, we're often getting a lot of that. But for some reason, as the movie continued on and as we started to, get more about this basketball game and kind of LeBron's mission here, we got less and less of the Looney Tunes. At least that's what it felt like. Now, it was really cool when they went from 2D to 3D, and when they were building up to the game, there was a moment there where I'm like, yes, we're starting to get some development. And the relationship that I enjoyed the most between LeBron and one of the animated characters was, of course, Bugs Bunny, because that's who he kind of starts out with before Bugs goes and recruits his team. And that was there, although I will not say it was fleshed out to the level that I personally needed, because it's like, okay, we go and get the team, we get into some hijinks on some of these worlds, and then we are immediately in this basketball game, and it's almost as if LeBron has formed these relationships with these characters off screen, because he's talking to them like he's known them for a long time, but we've only seen them together on screen for barely any time at all. And the time that we did get on screen, it was kind of montaging through things and focusing on these other IPs to the point to where, for me, the story really started to lose track and lose focus of what the heart and soul of the film is, and that is, well, the Looney Tunes, and obviously LeBron James, which he gets a lot in this movie and a lot to do. He's on screen almost the entire film. We start out at the beginning, and they're building him up. He gets the montage like Michael Jordan got in the first one, and Don Cheadle's character saying he's a social media star and a basketball player. Algorithmically speaking, I don't know if that's a word, he said he's more than an athlete. He's a king. And I'm sitting back going, did LeBron write that dialogue? And some cheesy things like LeBron, dabbing. But again, kids love dabbing. So maybe kids will love that moment. And then they go to Warner Brothers and, they're talking up WB as the studio behind all of the classics. And LeBron is learning that he could be Batman. He could be the LeBron of Thrones or Hogwarts and all of these different things. And after about 25 to 30 minutes of that kind of buildup, we finally enter this cartoon world where LeBron is actually 2D animated for a lot of the film. And while a lot of the buildup was just kind of Warner Brothers patting themselves on the back, they did try to give LeBron and his son a nice little relationship at the beginning. And there is an underlying story of LeBron being that dad that has to inevitably say, you don't have to do basketball, son. You have to do you and be yourself. And that's a nice message, but we don't come back to that message until the main end of the film after all of the madness and all of these different characters that just continues to take away the core heart of the story. And don't get me wrong, all that is fun, right? I like these IPs. I like going to these different worlds. I like me some big chungus. And there are some very NBA-specific jokes, especially about LeBron's different teams that Bugs Bunny brings up, and I'm like, that works. That's the kind of jokes that I want, because that's what we got in the first film. But the first film is so simple. They bring in Michael to play a basketball game to save someone. That's kind of what they're doing with LeBron, but the stakes are ridiculously huge. They're bringing in all these people from real life as well as these different IPs, and the IPs during the game are so distracting because they're all scattered throughout the background, so they're taking away what the focus should be, and then when you do start focusing on them, it's a bunch of like stunt double looking people, and it's really cool to see them, but at the same time, if you start paying attention to their faces, they're not really responding to what's going on screen, so most of the time they're just kind of like... And this is like even during the quiet moments, so it was kind of weird. And another issue I personally have, and again, this is all personal, right? I wanted a simple basketball game, and this movie goes really overboard. They're doing style points, and this team's going from like 1 to 500 at one time, and I'm trying to learn the rules of it. I'm like, okay, how are our characters going to win? And if Don Cheadle really is in control, then can't he just like, it's just a lot. It's a lot that's really convoluted, and it doesn't really come together. But Porky Pig does rap, so that's something. Also, I needed more Daffy Duck in this movie, and there's so many Looney Tunes that we just don't get hardly anything from. Not even a line of dialogue for a few of them, and I'm just like, that's a great character that you're putting on the back burner to do other things that I don't care as much about. Also, another big detriment here is the soundtrack is just, it's fine, right? But again, with the comparisons to the first film, Austin, what do you do? I didn't even like the first film. I have to, because the first movie had such an incredible soundtrack and the way that the music flows within the film, and I was waiting for that. I kept waiting on it. In this movie, and I'm just like, all right, you're not really giving me much here. They do one thing during halftime of the game that I thought was an absolutely hilarious joke. It's going to piss a lot of people off the way that they build it up and present it, but I actually thought it was really funny, and I will admit, even though I was struggling during the entirety of the game because I just was not invested like at all, there is some heart, and that message at the beginning that I thought was like a nice little start to the movie did inevitably come back around, and I thought that was genuinely sweet, but beyond that, I kept waiting on something to happen to make me care about these. I haven't even brought up Lola Bunny. She's there. Zendaya does a good job. Do I want to talk about the controversy? Why is that I don't know. And at the end of the day, it is for a very specific audience, in my opinion. It is built for certain people, and mostly kids, to grow up with this movie and enjoy it for what it is and have fun with it. And I'm sure, I mean, you look at the score on Rotten Tomatoes for the first Space Jam, it was a rotten score. And a lot of critics didn't love that first movie, but the kids that grew up with it, aka me, really enjoyed it. And I think that could be the case again here. But for what I was looking for personally, and then just as a structured and cohesive film, I do believe there was too much going on, and the final product is a bit of a mess. The Looney Tunes are great, and certain Easter eggs are fun, but there's so much happening. It feels bloated and unfocused. That being said, kids will have fun, and that's what matters. And before I give you my score, Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this review, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below and subscribe for reviews every single day. I'm going to go a 46% for my score. Space Jam: A New Legacy did disappoint me at the end of the day. I was really looking forward to this movie. All of the marketing was getting me hyped, and there were just so many things about it that I thought took away from what could have been the heart and soul of the story. And maybe they'll get another crack at it, and there was rumors yesterday that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could come in, and who knows, maybe another Space Jam down the road. But as of right now, Space Jam: A New Legacy is out now in theaters and on HBO Max. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you soon.